Happy Monday, everybody. Mr. Bauman here. Got your next lesson video here. Just a quick couple minutes. We'll talk about the war in the Pacific and the end of World War II, and then I'll have you go on your way to learn about the Bataan Death March today on Monday, or Tuesday, I guess you might be seeing this, April 6th or 7th. So, 27 Section 5 is the end of the war. It starts with what's called island hopping. Island hopping meant we had to make our way from Hawaii over here to Midway Island, and then through Micronesia, a couple hops to the Philippines, and then up closest to we could to Japan to finally attack them. Basically, we did a good job. We were able to win battles throughout the Pacific Ocean, and it raised the U.S. morale and lowered Japan's sense of invincibility. The Japanese had won all these red territories basically without a huge struggle. They kicked everyone's butt the whole way through until we made our way through from Pearl Harbor to Midway Island in June of 1942, and then across Micronesia in 1942 and 1943. And then it took a while, but we made our way finally by 1944 and 45 into the part just below Japan, as we'll talk about. First of all, the Navajo Code Talkers were Native American soldiers who used their own language to radio vital messages from island to island. The Japanese couldn't understand it. They had trained people to try to learn English and to try to decode our messages, but the Navajo Code Talkers totally messed them up. Kamikazes were pilots who did suicide missions. They loaded their old planes with bombs and then deliberately crashed them into Allied ships, killing themselves, but also killing many, many Allied soldiers and sailors. Iwo Jima and Okinawa are two of the most famous battles in American history. The goal, this was in early 1945, is we needed an air base to launch an attack on Japan, so we had to get close enough. So these were the islands we had to hop to next. Iwo Jima and Okinawa are just outside of Japan, a few hundred miles away. After horrible battles, Japan finally surrendered these islands, which allowed us to attack Japan finally. And of course, you see the picture there, very famous flag-raising picture. Funny enough, this flag was already raised on top of Iwo Jima on the island, but the soldiers were asked to take it down and then re-raise it for a photo opportunity or a photo op. So they did that, and that's why they got this famous flag raising. It's also the statue in Washington, D.C., the United States Marine Corps Memorial Monument. They have a statue of this just outside of Arlington National Cemetery, a mile or so of this, and that's where the Marine Memorial is to all the Marines that have been in wars since the American Revolution. Very famous scene. Okinawa was a nasty battle, as well as Iwo Jima. Lots and lots of Americans had to die to get this, but they were able to secure these islands and then set up their attack on Japan. They also had what was called the Potsdam Declaration. The leaders of the United States, that's Harry Truman in the center, the Soviet Union on the right, that's Joseph Stalin, and on the left is Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom. They got together and wrote a letter to Japan, basically telling them to surrender or face prompt and utter destruction. The plane you see up here is called the Enola Gay. Gay means happy, by the way, people. And in this case, the Enola Gay was the name of the plane that dropped the first atomic bomb. And that will happen on August 6th, 1945. The Enola Gay will drop the bomb called Little Boy. It exploded at an altitude of 2,000 feet and killed 70,000 Japanese people instantly upon hitting the ground, or upon explosion. Many more died later of poisoning from radiation that came out of that atomic bomb. This was part of the project that Albert Einstein and others worked on to create an atomic bomb, one so destructive it could wipe out miles and miles around with one blast. This is the curvature and the destruction. We basically warned Emperor Hirohito that if he did not surrender, as he was leader of Japan, if he did not surrender, we would have to bomb him again. We got no response on August 7th or 8th. So on August 9th, another bomb called Fat Man was dropped on Nagasaki, Japan. Over 40,000 were killed instantly. You see the burns left on this gentleman down here on the bottom left. You see the face of this child up here. This man was miles away from the blast and still was left with terrible, terrible burns, likely radiation poisoning on top of that. Total destruction of the area, and we basically said you have 1 week. Make your decision. Either quit or we continue to fight. 5 days later, on August 14th, 1945, was called VJ Day, or Victory in Japan Day. Japan surrendered. You see the San Francisco Chronicle says peace on the top. Japan gives up unconditionally, and Allied troops are told to cease firing. So the battles were over. The war was over. Finally, after 6 long years of war, this was over. The United States was in it for just under 4. Times Square, 1945, famous picture the sailor coming home and kissing, hopefully his girlfriend or wife, but who knows? And then we have what's called the deadliest war in history. If you add up all of the number of deaths, you've got about 9 million on the Allied side. I'm sorry, on the Axis side, and then somewhere in the neighborhood of of 19 million. So 19 plus 8 million is approximately 27 million killed. That does not, as you can see, include the number of deaths from the Holocaust. Those numbers were not included at the time. So we're looking at a number of over 33 million people killed between the Holocaust and the actual battles of World War II. Pretty incredible, pretty sad, pretty devastating. Your assignment today is pretty simple. You're going to go into Schoology, and in Schoology, it's April 6th, so you click on there. You are going to click on this beautiful puzzle piece. Sorry, it hasn't opened up yet. I'm doing this very early in the morning on Monday. You open up this puzzle piece. You get to watch a little video, read a little article, and again, you have 4 questions to answer. Should not be anything difficult. Just a warning, though. Friday's assignment will be a little different. You'll have a matching section of a lot of different people from World War II. So be prepared for that. But take care of these 4 questions today. Make sure those get done. Oh, actually, it'll be Wednesday and Thursday this week. We do not have school Friday. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday will be this assignment for the Bataan Death March. Wednesday, you'll get a different assignment. I hope you guys are doing great. Miss you all. Have a good day. Stay out of trouble.